Now they have to prove that these aren't extraterrestrial, and they also move without creating an exhaust or breaking the sound barrier.
A strange object from outside our solar system just flew by our sun.
That was expelled, and it has been traveling through interstellar space for hundreds of millions of years, billions of years, we don't know.
Leaving behind mystery, unexplained occurrences, and questions that even the brightest minds cannot answer.
Oumuamua is less than a millimeter thin, but very wide like a sail, harnessing solar radiation to propel itself.
Now, in 2025, new technology has revealed some startling data, which may provide a grim explanation for this unknown visitor to our solar system. Michio Kaku believes there is a hidden danger that other scientists studying Oumuamua are completely ignoring. And the truth that he revealed will leave you terrified.
Oumuamua is so weird. Let's study objects like it in more detail so we can figure it out.
The strange rock. Oumuamua, discovered in 2017 and named First Distant Messenger, was an enigma from the very beginning. Its odd shape, reddish color, and unparalleled speed defied all known scientific assumptions.
It was the very first object that we had ever discovered that had originated outside the solar system.
But its mysteries have continued piling up with its strange behavior, especially during its passage close to the sun. Its oddly precise trajectory, its highly reflective surface, and its lack of thermal signature were all oddities that shook scientists to their core. But the most bizarre oddity only occurred recently, when Oumuamua suddenly gained a burst of speed without any logical known means of propulsion. No comet trails and no gas expulsions, nothing of that sort. The scientists were baffled, forcing leading theorists to come up with possible explanations for this abnormal behavior.
And in fact, it's not just rotating, it's tumbling. So it's not just it's going end over end, but twisting as it does so.
And after carefully studying all the data, scientists like Michio Kaku have put forth a new explanation.
This is something that we didn't realize before, and they also move without creating an exhaust or breaking the sound barrier.
Oumuamua may not have been just a rock in space. It was something far more advanced, something artificial in nature, maybe even part of an alien fleet we were barely able to see. The strange acceleration. Oumuamua entered our solar system in a hyperbolic trajectory from interstellar space. Its path took it close to Earth and then near the Sun, curving at a trajectory that placed it on an outbound path of about 20 degrees above the plane of planets that orbit the Sun. However, there was one odd thing during its marvelous journey. As the object was moving away from the Sun, it gained a sudden burst of speed. Now, comets usually experience bursts of speed when some sort of gas or vapor escapes from their surface. But those vapors or gases can be clearly seen by using powerful telescopes. Strangely, though, no such trail was observed behind or around Oumuamua. Its acceleration appeared to be without a cause. This was unprecedented behavior, a scientific impossibility. A non-gravitational acceleration without a visible cometary tail is not something that has been observed before.
We don't see that in our solar system. None of the asteroids in our solar system look like that.
The scientists were baffled. Theories upon theories were put forth. And the one explanation that gained a lot of traction was the hydrogen iceberg explanation. In March 2023, a theory was put forth explaining the odd acceleration of Oumuamua. The theory stated that Oumuamua was likely composed of molecular hydrogen ice, and as it went past the Sun, that ice turned to gas, giving it a push.
It was pushed away from the sun by some mysterious force.
Since these hydrogen vapors wouldn't have left a visible trail, they would not have been observed. But this theory was quickly debunked by most major scientific figures. There were far too many problems with it.
There was no fuzziness around it that you would expect from a comet as the ice was turned into a gas.
Pure molecular hydrogen ice is extremely fragile, so it wouldn't have survived in interstellar space for so long. Additionally, it would have required a very large surface area of Oumuamua to be molecular hydrogen ice for the object to behave in such a way. That simply wasn't the case based on observation data.
How cool is it that something came out from some other origin, passed through our neighborhood, and it possessed some form of organics?
Aside from these inconsistencies, There were other things that the hydrogen iceberg theory wouldn't explain, such as the other odd behavior Oumuamua exhibited that defied explanation and left scientists scratching their heads in confusion. Micro-adjustments. Oumuamua tumbles around as it soars through interstellar space. This is normal behavior for objects hurtling through interstellar space at extreme speeds. They move chaotically. But there was something rather strange that scientists observed about Oumuamua. After it accelerated, the tumbling was being counterbalanced, as if being controlled and stabilized. How was this possible? It was unlikely that this was a natural phenomenon. Oumuamua was observed to control its tumbling by adjusting its acceleration vector for every 7.3 hours rotation cycle. That was far too precise to be natural. If Oumuamua were a random space rock, it wouldn't be making micro-adjustments to maintain its course. It was following a repeated cycle that shouldn't be possible in the randomness of space, at least not without help.
But then something weird happened. As it was moving away from the sun, it was slowing down as you'd expect. But it wasn't slowing down fast enough.
Scientists like Michio Kaku believe they know the answer behind this mysterious behavior: artificial control.
A laser highway that could be right next to the Earth for all we know, carrying the digitized souls.
The only way such precise maneuvers were possible was if Oumuamua was programmed to make these micro-adjustments. And that discovery gave birth to a new theory. Could Oumuamua be a controlled craft, or a probe that was just using our sun to adjust its course? Was its entry into our solar system a planned journey to counterbalance its tumbling motion to maintain its stability? These are bold theories, but in the absence of anything else, they are the most likely explanations we have, terrifying as they may be.
It was really mysterious, and so everybody who was observing it thought it was an asteroid.
Alien light sail. There are tons of theories from major scientific figures as to why Oumuamua was able to accelerate past the sun at such high speeds without any detectable propulsion method, and why it was able to make micro-adjustments during its journey. One theory put forth by Avi Loeb, the chair of Harvard's astronomy department and a highly respected scientist, says that Oumuamua is a light sail. What is a light sail? It's a proposed method of spacecraft propulsion where instead of using fuel to push a spacecraft forward, we instead use the pressure of sunlight. By using a reflective membrane, a spacecraft can get pushed by the momentum of photons to gain speed. Avi Loeb, in his paper, proposes that this was how Oumuamua gained speed while traveling away from the sun. This was the mysterious cause behind the sudden acceleration that other scientists had been unable to figure out.
Force that is pushing it, and it's not clear what this push is from.
Oumuamua was being pushed by solar radiation. That would make Oumuamua not an asteroid or a comet, but rather a piece of technology of unknown origin that utilizes light sail mechanisms for propulsion, a technology we humans have only begun to understand. This would explain all the other odd behavior of Oumuamua as well. According to Avi Loeb, Oumuamua harvested the energy from the sun and used it to make micro-adjustments needed to maintain its trajectory and tumbling angles.
A surface of a spaceship that was ripped apart, and you just see the surface being pushed by reflecting sunlight.
Now, there are several factors that give credibility to this theory. First and foremost, let's take the shape of Oumuamua into account. While there is no visual sighting of Oumuamua in the form of a picture or a video, we do know that it is shaped like a cigar or a pancake. Astronomers have also been able to figure out that Oumuamua is 10 times as long as it is wide. This kind of shape is certainly not common among asteroids and comets. Not only that, but since Oumuamua is quite large, and it has been hurtling through space for millions, maybe billions of years, there is no reason why it should be of this particular shape and size ratio. By all accounts, it should be spherical, or at least similar in shape. The unnatural shape of Oumuamua has led scientists to believe that it may not be a naturally created object. Rather, it could be an artificial structure made to be of this particular shape.
It's kind of like a little jet engine on the surface. Just gives it a little thrust over time.
The elongated shape is just what you would expect a solar sail probe to look like. As a matter of fact, many of our satellites look quite similar in shape. And then there is the curious surface reflective capabilities of Oumuamua. A study found that Oumuamua's surface reflected light 10 times more effectively than the comets in our solar system. And keep in mind that many of these comets are made of ice, which is quite reflective as it is. So why was Oumuamua able to outshine them? While there could be several explanations, one that stands out is that if Oumuamua had a metallic surface, it would reflect light very well. Judging by the amount of reflection off of Oumuamua's surface, we can only assume this metallic layer, if there is one, is not naturally occurring. If it were natural, then it would have been too rough. An artificially created layer, however, would be much smoother and more reflective. The reflectivity of Oumuamua also varied wildly as it tumbled through space, suggesting a difference in surface texture and angles across the object. If Oumuamua is made up of metal or something just as reflective, no wonder scientists like Avi Loeb and Michio Kaku are calling it alien in origin.
I was disappointed. I would have been much more excited if we have found evidence for an alien civilization.
But the evidence does not stop there, because Oumuamua has one more unexplainable anomaly that not even the brightest astronomers have been able to explain. Lack of thermal signature. Oumuamua has shown no thermal signature when it was measured, even when it was close to the sun. This is another clue that indicates Oumuamua was a light sail probe.
When Oumuamua was discovered last October, it was tumbling past the sun at 196,000 miles per hour.
Let me explain. Oumuamua is an interstellar object, meaning it has been traveling in the void of space for millions of years at the very least. That would allow its surface to get darker in color. It's Science 101 that darker objects absorb heat much better than brighter ones. So by all logic, Oumuamua should be retaining and then emitting at least some heat. But when scientists observed this mysterious visitor using the Spitzer Space Telescope, it was giving off no thermal energy signature whatsoever. So, what gives? There can only be 3 reasons why that would happen. One is that Oumuamua sends back all the heat it gets through reflection. For that to happen, Oumuamua would have to have the perfect mirrored surface, which does not occur naturally. The second explanation is that Oumuamua is made up of an unknown material that does not give off a thermal signature. NASA has been trying for a while to make something similar, a material that could insulate spacecraft's thermal signature, or at least reduce it, but so far, we have not been able to make anything as efficient as Oumuamua's surface. Then, we have the third explanation, which seems most likely. Perhaps Oumuamua absorbs all the heat it gets, and all of it gets utilized without waste, almost like an advanced version of a light sail. Oumuamua's lack of thermal signature defies the laws of thermodynamics. But if there is a civilization out there that has figured out a way to utilize light and heat with 100% efficiency,
Oumuamua may be a fully operational probe sent intentionally to Earth vicinity by an alien civilization.
they could easily make something like Oumuamua, which does not give off any waste energy. That is technology far beyond what we can even imagine. Scientists have long believed that 100% efficiency is impossible in an energy-utilizing system. But here is Oumuamua putting a big question mark on that claim. Everything about this mysterious visitor from interstellar space screams artificial origins, but what does that mean? The probe theory. If Michio Kaku is right and Oumuamua is of artificial origins, then what could it be? What is its purpose? The leading theory is that it must have been a probe, a highly sophisticated scout sent out to either explore or to do reconnaissance. No doubt the idea feels a bit out there, but keep in mind, there are leading scientists like Michio Kaku and Avi Loeb proposing these theories, not your average Joe. But let's not take it at face value. Let's examine the evidence ourselves and then judge. When scientists took a closer look at Oumuamua's movement and how it moved, they at first thought it was all random, just like any other object in space. But when they inserted the data into advanced AI designed to notice patterns we humans would miss, something startling was revealed. Oumuamua was moving in a precise method, hurtling through space as if being controlled by a program. The pattern is repetitive, and it goes through a cycle.
Oumuamua, as it stands, is a phenomenal discovery and a really important object.
There is the primary rotation cycle, which finishes in a 7.3-hour period. And there are also secondary micro-rotational adjustments that happen every 43.8 minutes. These rotations allow light to hit every part of Oumuamua ideally. Incidentally, these rotations also allow for optimal energy collection. Why is that important? Well, a probe would, after all, need energy to function, especially on voyages lasting so long. And to do so, an advanced civilization would design it for maximized energy gain every time it comes close to a star, like our Sun. Oumuamua's calculated movement allows for exactly that. But the surprises don't stop there. Turns out these movements would have also allowed Oumuamua not to overheat from having one side facing the sun all the time. The precise movements of Oumuamua would also allow it to perform a sort of scanning motion at set intervals. And why is that important? Well, if Oumuamua is really a probe of extraterrestrial origins, then its purpose could very well be to scan other solar systems for signs of life.
Said Oumuamua did not behave like an ordinary asteroid or give off gas like a comet.
It could be checking for different kinds of signals from our planet during its flyby, and upon finding them, it must have sent the results directly to its makers before flying away once again. But this is not the only proof we have supporting Oumuamua's artificial origins theory. There is another reason why leading scientists believe Oumuamua is not just a naturally made rock, and that is because of its trajectory. Perfect trajectory. Oumuamua's trajectory as it flew through our solar system was extremely strange. The object flew extremely close to the sun during its journey.
Oumuamua, by contrast, is the first observed object to come from outside of our solar system.
At its closest, it was just 0.25 astronomical units away from the sun. That is closer than Mercury. But even more curious was its trajectory close to Earth. Oumuamua flew as close as just 0.161 astronomical units from our planet. Here is the interesting part. That distance was just perfect for a probe to go through. It was not close enough that even with more advanced tech we could have interacted with it or maybe captured it. Nor was it so far that it could not get useful information from our planet. If we humans were to send a probe to check out a planet and observe it, we would probably send it on a similar path. That begs the question, what are the chances that Oumuamua took the perfect trajectory through our solar system for it to have the best chance of gathering information? The chances are, of course, never zero. Everything about Oumuamua indicates a planned approach. Even the speed of the object. Oumuamua maintained a speed of over 26 kilometers per second during its arrival and exit from our solar system. Its peak speed was 87.71 kilometers per second at the perihelion. Oumuamua moved fast enough not to be captured by the sun's gravity, but it also wasn't so fast that no one would think it had been ejected by a star recently. If it were sent by an unknown alien civilization, this was the ideal speed for Oumuamua to get a gravity assist and continue its journey while also taking in data about our solar system. While separately, all the oddities we have discussed about Oumuamua may be explained as bizarre coincidences, but combined, they make the truth hard to ignore. There is far too much evidence showing that Oumuamua was of artificial origins. And let me blow your mind now, because Michio Kaku goes a step further when talking about Oumuamua being a possible alien probe or spaceship. He has proposed another theory.
These objects travel between Mach 5 and Mach 20. That's 20 times the speed of sound.
Part of a fleet. According to Michio Kaku, there is no evidence to suggest that Oumuamua was alone. After all, we never even got to see it directly, even during its closest approach to the Earth. So what if there were multiples, not just one or two? What if there were a whole fleet of alien ships or probes hurtling through our solar system, and Oumuamua was the only one we were able to see? Michio Kaku suggests that the way Oumuamua behaved and how it interacted with the solar radiation imply that it was not alone. We only saw the most conveniently located member of the group that also happened to be the most reflective. I mean, think about it. Oumuamua had no thermal signature. It moved so stealthily that we barely saw it approaching. What if it were accompanied by other objects that had much better luck at staying incognito? If that is the case, then maybe we were lucky to spot even this one. Maybe the fleet of spaceships did not deem Earth to be a threat and simply moved on to their next destination after getting a gravity assist from our sun. After all, What chance would we have had to defend ourselves? Michio Kaku certainly seems to think this is the case, and he is not the kind of scientist who is wrong about his guesses. Coming from him, we should at least entertain this as a possibility, but even if there was no fleet, there are plenty of other possible explanations for Oumuamua's origin for us to explore. Just alien trash. Many leading scientists like Michio Kaku have put forth a disturbing theory.
Object that he claims is either a junk debris, or maybe it's a tourist scout or a spy drone.
It's much more reflective, rather, right?
What if Oumuamua is not a space probe or a spaceship of alien origins? What if it is just alien trash? Believe it or not, that is one of the most likely explanations for Oumuamua's strange behavior. A popular explanation for Fermi's paradox is that humanity's first contact with alien civilizations may not be a direct contact at all. Scientists call it the litter hypothesis. According to this hypothesis, our first contact with aliens would be finding their discarded space junk, like a defunct space exploration craft, a satellite set adrift, or maybe even parts of a spaceship destroyed on its journey or during a battle. Michio Kaku published an analysis in April 2025 that claims Oumuamua could be one of those things. There is plenty of evidence to support this theory. For instance, Oumuamua's shape is quite similar to what you would expect of a torn-up piece of an alien spacecraft. After all, it bears a striking semblance to components in our own space stations and spacecraft. It could very well be a damaged communication array or a solar panel of alien origins. An alien civilization far, far away could have sent out hundreds of probes, and Oumuamua was one of them, making its last leg of the journey by passing by our sun and into the void of space. And if that is the case, who is to say that the civilization that built it is even around anymore? The universe is extremely old, and scientists believe Oumuamua has been adrift in interstellar space for billions of years. Who knows? Maybe the civilizations that made this space junk we have been marveling at died out millennia ago. The micro-adjustments, the path corrections that Oumuamua has been observed making could just be leftover programs still functioning and falling into predictable patterns. But here is the weirdest part. Throughout its journey, Oumuamua never emitted any kind of signals. The thing is acting like an alien probe, but any probe should be sending back information to its point of origin, right? So why wasn't Oumuamua? The answer is simple. Oumuamua is a probe that is broken or abandoned. It is a piece of alien tech trash that is working on its old instructions, making its movements feel like those of a probe. But there is another explanation for the lack of signals. If Oumuamua is truly alien in origin, who is to say that we humans are nearly advanced enough to identify and track the signals it would be sending back to its origin point? It is likely that our technology is far too primitive for that. And that brings us to another mind-bending Oumuamua origin theory. Time probe. The time probe theory maintains that Oumuamua is an alien probe, but it proposes that Oumuamua is equipped with far more advanced technology than we could even imagine. We know that Oumuamua is billions of years old, but what if the civilization that built it has harnessed time itself? It is theoretically possible after all.
Terrestrial human technology that is capable of what these objects have been seen doing.
Even today, we humans are meddling with the quantum world where time and space act strangely. Now imagine a civilization that is so far advanced that it can manipulate time itself. If that is the case, then the aliens who made Oumuamua would have sent it far into the future, or even in the past, as a probe exploring not just space, but also time. That would explain the extreme age of Oumuamua. That would also explain why we have not detected any signals coming from Oumuamua. It could be transferring its data through means that transcend time. Or maybe it is using quantum technology to transfer information to its creators instantaneously across space and time without any delays. This may all sound like a fringe sci-fi idea, but scientists like Michio Kaku have hypothesized that we humans could achieve this kind of tech in the far future. So who is to say there aren't alien species who have already mastered this technology? And if aliens are so advanced, we better listen to what Michio Kaku is saying, because the next theory he has put forward is downright horrifying. A war brewing? Michio Kaku has proposed that Oumuamua was not just an observational probe, rather it was a passive probe sent out for less than peaceful purposes. Even in human wars, before launching an attack, it is a common tactic to first scout out the enemy. Michio Kaku's theory supposes that Oumuamua was a probe with this exact purpose. Why else would it be so well hidden? Oumuamua left no thermal signature, gave out no signals, and approached our planet from a safe distance. Could it be gathering intel quietly and stealthily for an alien civilization or fleet-seeking battle? If so, then humanity is far too unprepared to face such a threat. Oumuamua was only barely observed, and if it were a passive probe, we know virtually nothing about the enemy that just found out everything about us. When scientists reanalyzed Oumuamua's position in 2025, they found out that it was placed perfectly to receive our television, radio, and internet broadcasts during its journey past our planet. Oumuamua could have easily figured out how far we have advanced technologically, what our culture is, what weapons we use, and even what our fighting strategies are. Oumuamua would have broadcast that information to its origin point already before it left our solar system, while humanity was woefully unaware. Should we be expecting an attack? No one can say for certain. What we do know is that we need to be more careful, and Michio Kaku has an idea how we can do that. Staying safe in space. Michio Kaku has been openly against humans broadcasting our presence in space. Our civilization has been constantly sending out radio signals and other identifiers of civilizations for anyone to track for a long time now. Michio Kaku believes this is far too dangerous. He thinks that if we are to ever come in contact with aliens, it should be on our terms, not from a position of weakness. And we can do that by limiting our broadcasts to outer space and taking on a more stealthy approach. If Oumuamua was really an alien space probe, we just gave away every piece of information on us that an enemy could ever need. According to Michio Kaku, actions like this could very well mean the end of humanity. Michio Kaku has also proposed that we need much better tracking of our surroundings in space to ensure humanity's survival. According to scientists, objects like Oumuamua from interstellar space pass through our solar system every year. But we are not capable of tracking them due to technological limitations. Our current detection systems are not nearly sophisticated enough to monitor for interstellar objects entering our solar system effectively. Most interstellar objects are only visible for a few days. Some approach in such a way that the sun's glare makes it impossible to know they are even there. Thankfully, progress is being made to remedy that. The Vera C. Rubin Observatory in Chile is set to begin operation in late 2025. It would be able to scan through the entire visible sky every few days, allowing us to identify and track interstellar visitors like Oumuamua weeks or even months before they enter our solar system. Maybe then, we will be able to better track the anomalous activities of these objects, preventing another reoccurrence of a miss like Oumuamua. With that, we are done for today. What are your thoughts on Oumuamua? Was it a space probe, a natural comet, or was it an alien spaceship that found us too uninteresting to interact with? Let me know your theories in the comments down below. I would love to read them all, and while you are at it, be sure to like the video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, goodbye, and stay curious.